This is June from Delish's Budget Eats series. Today I'm here to do expensive taste test, in which I probably will fail at all the rounds. Let's start. I love apples. Ooh, these are nice and cold. So the first thing that I look when I look for apples is this flowering part. Is it looking nice and fresh, or is it looking kind of withered? I also look at how waxy it is. I don't know which one's more expensive, but I can tell you right away this one is fresher. This one feels a little bit rubbery, a little bit more scratches to it, so I can tell that it's probably a little bit mealier. This one smells better, more like an apple, but this one looks better. So my favorite apples come from the farmer's market, and you would know right away when they're from the farmer's market because they usually don't have this waxiness to them. I eat a lot of apples. This one is really delicious. Crisp, juicy, sweet. I don't smell this apple. So usually before, I used to take my apples and just smell them deeply, and I would always pick the ones that smelled better. So looks can be deceiving. So one thing that I've learned is organic doesn't always taste better, but most often in the supermarket, organic looks better. So I'm gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna say this one is the more expensive one. This one was $4. I would not pay $4 for this, guys. But I'll eat it. I'm just gonna keep eating these. Well, they both have ice. One has more ice. One has less ice. Is that a visual signifier for you guys to remember which one's more expensive? I'm gonna say this one's tap, and if it's not tap, please don't buy this brand of water. It has a slightly stale milk carton taste to it. This one, it does have more ice, so maybe I just visually think, wow, look at this. A beautiful crystalline iceberg. How refreshing, because our minds are always tricked by our eyeballs. But this tastes like nothing, which is what I want my most ideal water to taste like. So expensive. Well, guys, you know, I have cheap taste. New York tap water, cheers, guys. Beats every other water in the world. Are we gonna cook in these? Let's see. Let's look at the curvature. This one has no name on it, which makes me think it's either really expensive or really cheap, because you're either really proud of who you are or you want nobody to know who made you. And this one is, can't decide which one's heavier. This one looks like it's got more design aspects into it. Glossier look to it. This one looks like it's promising to be non-stick, but I already see scratches forming on the side of the pan here, which isn't very promising. Have you used this pan before? This pan has never been used. Straight out of the package, I'm already seeing scratches. This is the cheaper one. Already tempted to say that this one is the more expensive one right off the bat. Red wax, I've seen a lot of, and also with really good cheeses, you often see a bigger difference between the part that's closer to the rind and the part that's further from the rind. Usually you can get a little bit more of like a peek if you peel off the wax. Red wax I feel like is very supermarket-y and pretty available everywhere. I also feel like this one is less aged. This one looks like a harder cheese with less moisture in it. Very pleasant smell, cheesy. You can smell a little bit of the nice cow. You can smell a little bit of the hay, kind of wet barn. It's like a very sunny day. Some clouds, a little bit of breeze through the trees. The birds are kind of flying overhead, but it's such a nice day, they're not staying on your shoulder. And this one kind of just smells like airplane butter. You've ever been given one of those little pads of butter on your plane? You don't feel like eating anything, so you just take a bite of bread and you smear the butter over it, and you can barely taste the butter because you're so high up in the air that nothing tastes like anything. Do I just chomp into this? I feel like I don't need to taste this one, but I will. So as you chew, it starts to turn into a cheese whiz texture inside your mouth. Processed, smooth, creamy. This one would be perfect melted into literally anything. I would love it in a grilled cheese. I would love it on the bottom of my eggs, just barely melted. But this one is what you eat with bread and you just enjoy a thin sliver of it with maybe a little bit of membrillo. There's like 4 different souls of cheese in this one cheese. Creaminess, little crystals, aged flavor. You got a little bit of that tougher rind. I barely tasted the rind on this one. And so you have a waxiness, you have a creaminess, you have a cheesiness, and then you have that like, this came from an animal with a loving farmer who crafted it just for you, and then they shipped it up in a ton of plastic and got it to you from very far away. Expensive. Now I get to take them home. I'm tempted to say right off the bat that this one is more expensive because this one is a little bit more yellow looking, which means that there's probably higher butterfat content in there. Usually that rises to the top because fat floats. Otherwise, I do think the one on the right looks a little opaque. See how it runs off the glass? About the same, I would say. Smells like, are they both whole milk? Good, because if I drink anything else, my lactose intolerance will not let me finish the rest of this episode. This one smells a little bit better to me too. It just smells a little bit more sweet and like heavy cream, and this one smells like milk that your public school lunch served you. Really sweet, really nice, but it kind of forms a film across your tongue that kind of fades like an ocean wave. You can taste the fattiness and the richness, but there's not flavor or character. I like this one way more. It doesn't fade like a shallow and transparent flavor. It kind of stays with you and it washes even deeper into your taste buds. This is nice. This is the kind of milk you can boil off on the stove and it reminds you of your childhood and you get carried away drinking it. I love this brand of milk. I don't know what it is, but yay for local dairy tasting better. Expensive. So let's just see. This already smells like Hershey's. It looks kind of like Hershey's too. It's flaky, it's light. This was broken off of a bigger bar because probably it was cheaper and came in a bigger packaging and is manufactured at a mass scale. This one looks like it has more air bubble in it too, which means the manufacturing process isn't as careful and attention to detail as this one, which is much smoother, and you can almost see like little tiny swirls on the back of these. It smells like a s'mores. It smells waxy, Crayola-like, sugar, a little bit of milk powder. This one smells like coffee. It smells a little bit like burnt coffee, like went a little too hard on the roast. This one also smells a little bit perfumey too, like a rich 76-year-old lady who's aging but in style. You know, she's got that nice silk scarf, she's got like some white hair that's coiffed just perfectly, that kind of lady. So I'm gonna stay with this being the more expensive one. I still can't believe, $3 for this bar. My benchmark for chocolate is it has to be slave-free, which is a huge problem in the cocoa industry. So if you're actually interested in finding out if your chocolate came from a nice place where people are getting paid properly, then maybe you should check out if your favorite chocolate brand is actually slave-free. Well, I already know what brand this is. This is a very iconic handle, but because we're not allowed to say the brands, I shall not say the brand. But I already know that this is the more expensive one. This needs a sharpening, but, well, this one was probably like 130-ish. So when you buy a knife, guys, the really important thing is to check out if it feels good in your hand, because everyone's hand is different, everyone's hand size is different, so you gotta feel if the blade feels nice, if it's a good weight, if it's a good length for you to control your rock and your slice. This one, on the other hand, we don't know the brand. This feels so dull. Honestly, we would probably not be able to slice through like a bell pepper without crunching down on it. This feels cheap. Out of the two knives, this one actually feels a little bit heavier than this one, but this one just feels so much more well-made, so much more sleek, beautiful, and deadly. But if I could take one home, this one is the expensive one. I'm gonna eBay this. Knives. I was gonna say this one, but then I looked at the little teethies on this one. This one is very gadgety. This one looks like it would give you nice little juliennes maybe. Poor little sacrificial carrot. Yep, nice julienning. But also not a very sleek performance. I would be kind of scared for my fingers. If you can take a look at these carrots, for the most part, not bad. Really even cuts, kind of jagged. I don't know. One other thing that I pay attention to when something is expensive or cheap is these little parts on the bottom. Cheaper ones are easier and glued in, and they often come apart after a few washings, and or you'll start noticing gunk wash out every time because they're loose, they're not well made. This one has a little bit of gap on the bottom, which makes me question the craftsmanship of this brand, even though this brand looks very familiar and is often known for having good peelers. One way to tell is we continue destroying this carrot, and this one peels so smooth, guys. I know it's not fancy because it doesn't give you a nice julienne, but this one just peels so nice. I usually don't like gadgety things. Almost just sliced my hand. Yeah, I didn't even mean to cut my hand on that, and it almost cut me. And I have leather hands, so it's very hard to cut. And this one doesn't feel like a menace at all. So despite it looking very tight and neat, very streamlined, and it even feels a little bit heavier, which would make you think that it's made better. This one even looks like it's glued. Like, do you see this part? That looks like it's stamped. All of the construction aspects of this make me question if it's more expensive. One more cut. Gut instinct, this one is more expensive. Damn, what's the price difference? Okay, all right. Well, I like this one. Ooh, booze. This one smells more like something, and I can't tell, but this one looks like it's slightly off color, and this one just smells and looks like rubbing alcohol. I'm tempted to say that this one has more character. I don't drink. If I drink both of these, I might die. I've never tried before. The last time I had tequila knowingly was in college, which is now over 10 years ago. I'm old. And it was at a Frisbee induction party at which all freshmen had to chug from the same bottle of tequila, which is unimaginable anymore. We smelled it, we looked at it, and we tasted it. Wish me luck. Rest in peace. Not bad. Ooh, okay. Very interesting development. At first it tastes sweet, a little bit like flowers, which is very nice. It's very light in texture and mouthfeel, and then it wha-bams you with the alcohol. And then after you get wha-bammed with the alcohol, it slides into cough medicine territory and grandma's house. You know that smell. You know that smell. Ooh, grandma. This is why I don't drink, guys. Ooh, okay. I'm so glad we're all having a great time right now. Am I red yet? Oh, okay, here we go. Number 2. Stop laughing. Oh boy. Well, I don't know if it's because I already got really drunk, but this one tastes super smooth. Very light flavor. And instead of tasting like soap bubble blower toy liquid, this tastes like lady in her late 30s, but feels like she's approaching her late 50s in spirituality, goes into a perfume shop and buys the most expensive bottle at about $385 to make herself feel like she's still alive inside. So I'm gonna say this one's more expensive. My mouth is completely numb and my brain is very loose right now. I guess I passed it's an Asian fail. Anything less than a 9 is not an A, and so, but you know what? My mom already knows this. I am an Asian failure, and I'm proud of it, guys. Not everything that's good needs to be expensive. Money is a construct, just like gender, just like politics, just like race, and you don't gotta pay attention to it. You just gotta know what you like, and you gotta give yourself what you like, because you're the only one who has to live with you for the rest of your life. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.